Welcome to a new series. Today I'll be showing you the basics of Unity. Uh, we will make a very basic adventure game in this series. I don't know how many parts it is yet, but in today's episode we'll be going over the basic Unity controls. So by default, when you first launch Unity, it will look like this. I have a custom view, and basically you can move these windows and stuff to make your own sort of personalized view in any way you really want. But for this project, I'll be using the default Unity layout. So if you want, you can make any of these smaller or bigger. It's up to you really. Alright, so down here we have the project view. This is just like where all your files will be, so like your scripts, your materials, your textures, and your models. Then if we go over here, we have the hierarchy. So this is everything in the scene. By default, the scene will have a main camera, and so the scene will always default to this camera. And this is your scene light. This just keeps everything nice and bright. So by default, these two will be in here, and the hierarchy will show you anything. So if I right-click, go to 3D object and cube, as you can see, I made a cube in the scene view. You can move that around, everything like that. So basically the hierarchy just keeps track of everything that's in the scene. Down here we have the console, so if you have an error or a comment or a warning, it will appear here. You hit that to clear. Right now it's empty, so there's something to clear. Collapse, so if there's multiple of the same comment or error, it will make it into one, and then clear on play. So when you hit play, it'll clear this. This will pause the game on error. And this is just for more advanced stuff. Again, this is just for the basics. Up here we have the scene and game view. So the scene view is where you're freely able to move, and you can interact with anything in the scene. In the game view, it's a bit different. You won't be able to see the icons for these because these are actually non-existent really. This just casts light, and this is just a camera. But the game view sees whatever this main camera is seeing. And then right here you can change the aspect ratio, or you can make it a custom resolution, or you can make your own. It's up to you. Alright, so now I'm going to go over some of the basic, really basic shortcuts here. So Q is your hand tool. This is for scene view. All these tools up here for scene view. So hitting Q or this button right here will bring you into hand view, or hand tool I mean. Basically it's just like a pan. Hitting W will bring you into the move tool. So if I'm on this, as you can see, I can just move myself, but if I hit W while I have this selected in the hierarchy, I can now move this around. So hitting W or this will do that. And then if I hit E, I will go into rotate view, so now I can rotate this camera on the Y, the Z, or the X, and then hit Control Z to undo what you just did. So yeah, it's a really handy one going from these two. So you can hit it up here, but the fast way is W for move, E for rotate, and then you have scales where, so you can go up here and press scale, or you can press R. Either or works. Now for these, scaling in wouldn't do anything, but if I get a cube and you see it scales like that, and then also for all these values you can change it up here. So if I use the move tool, as you can see the Z's value changes over here, the rotate tool changes it. So you can either use this to get imprecise measurements like that, or you can use this to get really precise measurements. Depends on what you need really. And then if I hit T, this goes into the rect mode, the rect tool mode. This is more useful for 2D, but basically this moves it in one way. So if you use this, it will move the scale and the position together. This is really cool if you need this side to stay level with something. So like if you want this against like a wall, but then you want to stretch it out, this is really useful. I don't use it very much as I'm mostly working 3D. And then right here, Y, this is like the multi-tool, so it does everything but the rect tool. And basically you can rotate, you can move, or you can scale. I don't like this one very much because it's too cluttered for me. Plus it's all the way out there in the keyboard, so it's not really even a hotkey. Sometimes I have to look for that one there. It's a bit weird, but I don't like it. So there you go. There's the basic overlay. To move around like this, hold right click and then use your WASD. The arrow keys don't work to go up and down, Q and W. And if you hold shift as well, you'll go faster. And then you can mouse hold to zoom in. Now let's say you're super far away, it'll take a while to get back to that cube, but if you just double click, it'll zoom in on that and it will make it your focus. It's a really handy tip, I guess you can say. So now we're gonna work on materials. So if I go to the project view, right click, create material. You can name this material anything. I'm gonna say basic cube. So up here you can see the rendering mode. Usually you want this on opaque, but if let's say you have something where a part of it is completely invisible, you would want cut out, and then fade and transparency. Those are, I don't really use those a lot, but they do have their purposes. But again, this is just for basic tutorial. Albedo, this is where the main texture would go. So like if you had a brick texture, you'd put that here. And then normal, this gives it detail. I don't have any textures in this project, so I can't really describe. These two, they do the same thing. They give a 3D effect, but they obviously have different purposes. I'm not gonna go over these two yet, or metallic. Maybe in a more advanced one, or secondary maps. It's a bit more advanced. But right here, you get a color wheel. You can decide the color of your material. So so you can see the difference. Let's make it red. So right now, we just made this cube, and it's using the default material type, which you can't change. It's like built into Unity, so the cube will always have a texture and first imported. Now you can set this to none, and it will be a missing texture cube. But if you drag the material in, or you can select it through this, you don't have to set it to nothing. It can be the default material, so you just drag it on there, change it, and now you'll see this material is on this. So if you had a texture here, the texture would be applied to the cube. Note this will apply to all sides. So if you had like a bark texture, it would be on the sides of it as long as at the top and the bottom. And then of course you can change this to any color you want. It's up to you. And then if you hit Control D on that, you'll duplicate it. It's a really useful tool. So basically this keeps everything, the metallic value is the smoothest. And I will go over the smoothest value right now. I just hit the delete key and then press delete to delete it. But the smoothest key, this is how much light reflects off of it. So right now it's really shiny. It's kind of hard to tell without a texture, but now it's very matte. So by default it's 0.5. I usually find this still too bright, so I usually turn it down to like 2.5, like so. Emission map. So you could put a emission map right here. Again, I don't have any textures, and this is the color it will emit. So this will affect it. But also this is like this is what color light emits. So if you have this on, it will emit that color light, which is pretty cool actually. Let's go ahead and turn that off because that's something we want for this particular material. So that's it for today. I'll have a new tutorial uploaded soon, but this is just basic Unity controls. And the next episode we'll be going over how to turn this cube into a landscape and how to make the player movement. So I'll see you guys then. Sorry if this is a bit short, I just wanted to get the controls down. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.